questionnaire, as well as this one, deleting this question from the questionnaire. Okay. So those are the two measures of reliability that I ask you to calculate. Then I ask you to do some correlations for validity. The first correlation is between the skepticism score and the trust score. So that's the original trust score. So let's go back to the data set. Remember, you calculated the trust score here in SPSS, and I gave you a fictitious skepticism score for everybody. To figure out if this questionnaire is valid, sometimes we will correlate a questionnaire to another questionnaire that we know is valid. And we have an understanding about the relationship between those two variables in general. So if there is a positive correlation, then that indicates that our questionnaire is probably valid. So we're gonna now correlate those two variables. To do this correlation, you click on Analyze, then you click on Correlate, and then click on Bivariate. Move these out, so we don't need them. Stop it. Ugh, so slow. Remember, we're going to correlate the interpersonal trust variable with the skepticism variable. And we're doing a Pearson correlation, which is two-tailed, and you click OK. Okay. So again, for correlation, the relationship between interpersonal trust and skepticism falls here. So this is the correlation coefficient that you would report. R equals negative 0.89, because you need to do 2 decimal places. But when you do your correlation, of course, you're going to get a different R variable. But this Pearson correlation represents the correlation coefficient. This sig two-tailed represents the p-value. So you need a p-value to be significant, meaning less than 0.05. And then if it is, you can report this. The next thing I ask you to do is a scatter plot or a scatter diagram. So to create a scatter diagram for these data, for the relationship between skepticism and interpersonal trust, you're going to go under Graphs, and then you're going to do Legacy Dialogues, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to Scatter Dot. Okay, everybody see that? Graphs, Legacy Dialogue, Scatter Dot, and then click OK. You need a simple scatter plot. So click on Simple Scatter, and then click Define. The two variables that you're interested in are skepticism and interpersonal trust. And then you can put a title in if you want. You don't have to. Relationship between trust and skepticism. Click Continue. and then click OK. So this has created a scatter plot. I also asked you to be sure to put in the fit line. So the fit line is the regression line, and it tells you from that you can estimate relationships between the variables, right? So in order to put in this fit line, you double click on the graph. So let me do that one more time. Here I'm in the graph. It says double click to activate. I double click. And now I have this new graph that's open. And then I want to click on options. And I want to click on reference. No. Sorry. Click on elements. And then fit line at total. So under elements, fit line at total. Click on that. And it puts a fit line in there. And then you can just close this. It also gives you the R-square. And so the R-square times 100 tells you what percentage of the variability in interpersonal trust can account for the score that we get in skepticism. I don't ask you about that. That is not important for our purposes. The next thing I ask you to do is estimate if someone got a score of 100, what would be their using the fit line, what would be their score on skepticism. So you would draw a line, straight line from 100 up to here, and then go over here and give me an estimate. Now your data set is going to be different, but based on this, I would probably estimate around a 44 score on skepticism if their interpersonal score on trust was 100. Okay, so you're going to do that. And the last thing you need to do is referencing, which we did in class before. If you have questions on how to do this referencing thing, you'll need to ask me in class. All right, so that is it for the presentation in terms of how to do this in SPSS, how to do your project in SPSS. Please be sure to bring your questions in to class, next class, and have this done by the 11th. Thanks.